Hi, everyone. On today's broadcast, we're talking about what happens when you have a job opportunity that's not in your genius zone. That sound familiar, right? I think a lot of times as women, we hold ourselves back because we get through the years of our career that's all about doing doing your thing, whatever your genius zone is. Okay. So if that's accounting, great, you're great with numbers, but now someone's asking you to step into something that's more in finance. Maybe you're in marketing and you're being asked to cover over into sales. Maybe you are changing industries. And I think one of the top things I hear from women over and over again is like, oh, okay, well, I've changed industries. I've got this killer job, but now I got to get up to speed as fast as possible to make sure they know I can do it. If you've ever said that, that is like the death of any sort of enjoyment of your work. And it's also not a powerful position to be in. So believe it or not, you can work across most, I'm going to say most, not every, most industries without having experience in that industry. If you have gotten some level of seniority in your career, usually, because you should no longer be doing, right? Like I have never worked in, I don't know, let's just say, like I don't do a lot of work with computers. So if you put me in a company that is really, tech, a high tech company, it's not my thing. I don't know a lot about it. I haven't come up through the ranks of a high-tech company. Technology is not my genius zone. It's not my experience. But that doesn't mean that a technology company couldn't hire me as a high-level advisor, as a leader, as someone who can help them solve a high-level problem within the things that I understand and know about. Right. So I'm probably not going to be hired as the chief technology officer of a high tech company. I'm not going to be hired as a chief technology officer of any company. But my point being is I've been a career marketer. As a career marketer, as a corporate marketer, could a high tech company hire me for their marketing? Absolutely. And they have. And I know nothing about technology in the way they know technology, but I know marketing. Can you, let's just stay with marketing since that's my background, can you as a marketer then take over sales? And will the sales team respect you if you've never worked in sales and you've never been in their shoes and you've never, picked up the phone and made the calls and all the things that salespeople sometimes have to do? Yeah. And so what holds us back as women is we don't go, yeah. Right? Like it is just being decisive and saying, wait a minute, where is my talent? My talent is in leadership, in grooming leaders, bringing leaders up to par, helping people stretch to be the greatest, they can be, helping people see the problems and removing the obstacles that get in the way for people. Like these are the types of things that we're doing in leadership roles. But as women, we are constantly trying to prove ourselves. And if you're constantly trying to prove yourself, not being influential, you're going to step back or not take on some really exciting opportunities that frankly, girl, we might need you there. Like we need more women in these top ranking positions. But if you have doubts and you don't think you can cut it and you think you're going to have to work 10 times harder to get up to speed in the industry, or now you're going to have to know everything there is to know about whatever, sales or finance or high tech or whatever, then you're going to hold yourself back. But you're also, this is why, like, I think generationally and for our, for women, we're holding ourselves back because we are so scared that if we go farther, it's going to be harder. And then we're never going to see our dog and our cats and our kids and our partners and our waistlines ever again, because we are just working ourselves into an early grave. And obviously that's not what I want for you. I mean, if that's what's going on, then do what's best for your health and your family. But my point being is it doesn't have to be that way, right? You don't have to know everything there is to know. One of the jobs that one of the best jobs, well, all my jobs have been amazing. I've always loved whatever I've gotten to do, which is really cool. But one of the best jobs I had was a job, the first job I had in international marketing. I did not speak a second language. I'd only been out of the country like once when I was like 10 years old. So I did not grow up, as a global person, student of the world. I did in books, and I loved that. I always wanted to work internationally and travel. So my mind had been there, but I did not have the experience of traveling globally. I did not have the experience of speaking multiple languages or even a second language fluently. I didn't really know how to, navigate the nuances, which there's quite a few of working internationally, but I really, really wanted to work internationally. And so I remember when I was applying for this job thinking, wow, why would they hire me? Why would they hire me when I know nothing virtually of traveling internationally, being abroad, international law, international marketing, anything? And the reason was my capacity as a marketer, right? I was there and I knew how to solve a problem for them. And all I had to do was ask questions of the local teams to say, here's how I see this solution. How would that then be, nuanced so it makes sense within your culture and within the dynamic that's over here in this country? And that's really what I did, because I didn't have a clue what I was doing. And it was a killer job and I loved it. And I got to meet so many incredible people and I got to make my dreams come true. And if I had limited myself and said, well, Kate, you can't do this job until you speak a second language, because everybody else I worked with spoke multiple languages. I mean, they were impressive as hell. I was like, wow. And everyone else I knew had gone to, you had masters in international management and, masters in international finance and masters in, global policy. And I had like a bachelor's degree, right? Like I didn't even have that. I was like business admin. That was it. I had a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration. But what I had was the way I see the world and how I do marketing. And listen, before you guys are going like, oh, okay, that's easy for, like, I was 27. I was not 57 when I was doing this, right? I haven't reached 57 yet. So my point being, and at the time I didn't realize this, I was just so hungry for that role that, I would just do whatever it took. Which again, I'm not saying that's what you should do, but my point being was I didn't understand the value I had. I was just barreling my way through it because I was so passionate for that role and for really wanting to live and work abroad. So whatever it is that you have as an opportunity in front of you, you really have to look at it and say, well, what do I bring to the table that is unique, that does fill the gap? Because when we're hiring someone, what are we doing? We're filling a gap. There's a gap, and whoever's hiring is looking for what is the best way to fill this gap. Do I fill it with 2 people? Do I fill it with 0 people? Do I fill it with a leader? Do I fill it with a worker? Do I fill it with someone who has, 20 years breadth of experience in this particular industry and role? Do I fill it with someone from the outside who will bring a fresh set of eyes and a fresh set of experience? And you don't know, right? You won't know until you interview, until you ask questions, until you engage. I always say like interviewing is like dating. It is not like you're going to go on a date and be like, oh my gosh, I really hope, this person likes me. Well, sure. I mean, we all hope someone's going to like us, but you're also kind of going like, do I like this person? And that's the way it should be when you are thinking about taking on additional role in your company or applying, outside of your company. Someone's tapped you for something. Just because it's not in your industry, just because it's not in your lane, just because it's not something you have done before, that's probably why they're asking you to apply, right? I've had other experiences with this, and like so many of the women we work with, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm an engineer. What do I know about whatever HR? And I'm like, well, but you know how to be around people, right? You can ask intelligent questions. When you're in a leadership role, again, you're not like, here's all the knowledge and now I'm going to like pour it into these people who know nothing. When you're in a leadership role, you have people who know stuff that are reporting into you. And all you're doing is saying, great, you people know stuff. My job is to look at the long-term range vision. My job is to interface with upper management and make sure that we are aligning with that vision. My job is to get obstacles out of your way. Your job is to know what to do. So if you find yourself in this paradigm where you believe, well, I have to know all the answers, you don't. And if that's how you're leading, that's not successful leadership, right? People don't want to work for leaders who have all the answers. Or let me take that back. There are people who want to work for leaders who know all the answers and who will dictate how to do everything. Those are not the people you want to work with, because those people are not your A players. Those are people who are comfortable and they are scared and they want to work for someone who's going to mother duckling them and who's going to like take care of them and who's going to own all the risk. So they can just kind of tuck in and like do their work and go home. And that may be fine for certain roles, and that may be fine for certain like niches of industries or whatever. But in general, if you're listening to this broadcast, you are probably someone who's, an ambitious leader in a high profile or, highly demanding role. That's not who you want on your team. You don't want a bunch of people who just want, B players who are just like, tell me what to do and I'll go do it. You want A players who are like, no, you tell me what the vision is and I'll start heading that way. And I'm just going to come in and tap you whenever I need your help to, A, steer certain decisions, give me a sounding board, or get problems out of my way. That's what you're looking for. And that's very, very different than being someone who knows everything there is to know about everything. There was another point in my career where, as a marketer, my background isn't in necessarily research. So, marketing is sort of it's a very broad term for a lot of different arenas. You could be in, marketing statistics and research. You could be in qualitative research. You could be in the creative field. You can be in the people field. You can be, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot that goes on in marketing. And there just happened to be a gap at the company that I was working at where they needed someone to lead their leadership team. So the research team. The research team had just sort of been orphaned. There'd been, some changes in the organization. And I was just like, what am I going to do with the research? Like, I don't know. Like, I use the research, but I don't know. Like, I don't know how to set up research. I don't know what makes viable research. I don't know what vendors to use. I don't know what questions to ask. I've got some vague ideas and things, but and that's not what I needed to do. Why? Because there was people on the team who were great at that. There were people on the team who were data mining. Like, I don't know how to data mine. I didn't know what I barely knew what data mining was back then. And it was like, I don't know how to do that. I didn't have to know how to do that. What I had to do is say, look, you all are intelligent people. What's happened? What needs to change? What are the problems we're facing? And then, of course, meanwhile, I had my leadership saying, here's what we need to see from research. This is where we feel like leadership could intersect better with some of the problems we're challenged with. And then, of course, I had my own vision, which is I'm like, well, if I'm going to lead a research team, we're going to be the best research team. We're going to be inserting ourselves in every high level decision that we possibly can, because I'm ambitious and that's fun, right? I want to work on that bigger, juicier work. So it was a collaboration between management expectations, my own vision that I wanted to set for this team, and then me sitting down with the team and listening to them and saying, well, what needs to happen here? What are your goals personally? Where do you think the gaps are in this team? What's transpired over the last, months, 6 months or year, whatever that's gotten us to this place? How would you fix it? And then when it came to like individual projects where someone was like, oh, we need, research for this. How would you design the research? I just got the team together and I listened and I asked, and I'm like, well, I don't know. Last meeting, you guys said that could be a problem. Is that going to be a problem for this research? Like, you're listening and you're observing and you're soundboarding with people. And then they're like, yeah, good point. What about that? No, that's not going to be a problem here. You're challenging and you're asking questions and being inquisitive as a leader, but you're not telling people what to do. Ugh, right? Like, who wants to do that? I don't want to sit around and tell people what to do all day. I mean, I don't know about you, but as a woman, do you know how many people in my life need stuff from me? You know what I mean? Like, I am the person who, like, I go into the bathroom, and when I come out of the bathroom, there's a dog, there's a cat, there's 2 children, there's a spouse, there's, a neighbor texting me, there's, it's just like the last thing I need is to tell more people what to do. I got way too many people asking me what to do to begin with. And I'm like, you people can figure out where the peanut butter is while I'm in the bathroom. Give me a break. So, creating an environment where you believe as a leader, you have to have all the knowledge. It's just such a fallacy, and it's going to hold you back from growing in your career. It's going to hold you back from enjoying your success, right? Like, everybody's like, oh, I don't enjoy my success. I need more time. And I'm like, well, maybe not. Maybe if you just had more fun, you wouldn't need more time. And it's just a fallacy that keeps you, sort of closeted away in a very small space. And that's not playing on center stage. That's not playing on a bigger stage. And I'm not saying you have to play on a big stage, but we all have our own bigger stage to play on, right? Whatever that is for you. And again, if you have a killer opportunity to evolve into a leadership role that isn't in your space, go for it. Because if not, you're going to become bored. One of the biggest joys of my life was when I started this company. It was still a corporate marketer. And then we started to start this company, and it got traction. I was like, oh my gosh, how fun. I get to do something totally different that I've never done before. Like I could do marketing in my sleep. After a while, you're just like, oh, I've done so much of whatever it is you do. And it was so fun and engaging to be, in this point in my career where I got to learn all new things. I got to be challenged in new ways, and I got to solve problems. Yeah, using my experience and my prowess and all the things I've learned over the decades, but then doing on a problem I've never had an opportunity to be confronted with before, or to think outside the box on where we could go, where I've never been able to do that before, right? Because I've always been in a different environment. It's so much fun. And that really juices you and gives you a second wind in your career, and more experience, new people that you get to meet. I mean, it's just so engaging and fulfilling. And of course, when you're engaged and you're fulfilled and you're having fun, doesn't mean you're working hard. It doesn't mean you're staying up all hours trying to learn everything about the industry. You will learn about the industry eventually. It will come very quickly with time. It's not like when you first started your career, because you have different eyes and a different experience set now. You're going to learn much quicker, right? But it's just so fulfilling. And then when you're fulfilled, guess what? You're going to make stronger, sharper decisions. Guess what? You're going to be a stronger, greater leader. Guess what? The people who follow you on your team are going to be more inspired, and they're going to up their game. Guess what? When you're home with your family, they're going to be like, oh my gosh, you're so fun to be around. You're so refreshed. And it's like, yeah, because I'm not running scared. I don't feel like I'm holding myself back, and I'm getting to do something that challenges me and is fun. Pretty good deal, right? So I think that's a big fallacy that really, as women, we just need to put to rest. Like, give a dude, sorry, dudes, because I love the dudes, give a dude a job. Like my husband, if you told my husband, hey, you know what? There's an opening at MIT, and you know what, he'd be like, all right, cool, I'll figure it out. If you told my husband, like, hey, NASA needs somebody, he'd be like, oh, that sounds interesting. Yeah, I'll figure it out. If you told him to, whatever, go have dinner at, like, I don't know, the White House or something, he'd be like, yeah, okay, that sounds fine. Like, it just wouldn't even faze him that he's not good enough, that he doesn't have enough experience, that he doesn't know how to have that conversation, that he might make mistakes. He'd just be like, okay, cool. Like, really, really, girls, come on. You know what I'm saying? Like, just, you got to dude up a little bit here and just recognize that all this fear we have has been bred into us and how we were raised, because we're so lucky to have a place at the table. You got a place on the table. You were born into the place at the table. Just stop proving yourself at the table. You got it. The table's there. It's all yours. Stop clinging to it. Just sit down. And now let's go have fun and create some really dastardly cool business and enjoy our lives. What do you say? All right. Well, listen, it's been great chatting with you today. I hope this broadcast has been, informational, has taught you something, and has really helped you look at your own career and what's possible in a whole different way. I really encourage you to look at some of our other broadcasts. I've got some longer trainings out there. If you want to register for those, and we go through exactly, sort of the stages of what needs to happen for you to be highly, highly successful and no longer sacrificing your personal life, your fulfillment, your peace of mind. So I really encourage you to watch that and see what you think. And I'm just thrilled that you were here today, and I'll look forward